Joining us now for more in a Closing Bell exclusive is Valerie Jarrett, former senior advisor to President Obama. She's also the author of the book, Finding My Voice, When the Perfect Plan Crumbles, the Adventure Begins. Valerie, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Sarah.
What happened to bipartisanship? That was the promise from President Biden early on. They could have just done a straight infrastructure plan and probably gotten more Republican buy-in, but instead they went for massive government spending on all sorts of environmental and social causes and tax hikes. That wasn't going to get Republicans on board.
That's the campaign that President Biden ran on, and he's following through on his commitment. Look, we ranked 13th in the world in infrastructure. We should rank #1. And yes, we do need bridges and roads and improving the electrical grid and our water system and broadband. We also have to invest in research and development and make sure that we are positioning our companies to compete in that global marketplace. And this is not a time for small plans. And so there's nothing in this proposal that the president did not run on, campaign on, and win on. And so he is delivering what he thinks is necessary for the American people. And I assure you, Sarah, if they had just proposed infrastructure, there would be a reason that Mitch McConnell would find for not supporting that. And so I think what he's doing is saying, yes, I will reach out. I'm willing to listen. He and his cabinet were out yesterday saying, of course, we want to hear good ideas. But the United States has got to be globally competitive, and we're not. And that's not just hurting the government. That's hurting the American people, and it's hurting our businesses. And so he intends to move forward. He welcomes their ideas. He would love their support, but he's not going to let their lack of support and their obstructionism get in the way of not delivering on what he promised to the American people.
It also gets at this idea of just big government spending, which is stimulative, as Treasury Secretary Yellen said, has been holding us back, the fact that we've been going the other way. But the government getting involved in investment decisions, picking winners and losers among companies, among industries, among geographies. Government track record isn't all that great on that front, is it?
Well, actually, yes, it is. If you think about what happened when President Obama was in office, our investment in clean energy, our investment in technology helped U.S. companies be competitive. Government has always provided the seed money where there wasn't enough of an appetite in the private sector to do so. So I think it's very appropriate. And I think we talk about spending. We should be looking at this as investment. Our companies invest in research and development. Our companies invest in their infrastructure. It's about time that the federal government stood up and was a partner in that effort. And that's what President Biden promised he was going to do, and he intends to deliver on that promise. And that's what the American people voted for. And so, of course, he's going to stay true to that commitment.
Valerie, to what extent are you concerned that there's just a little bit too much stimulus going into the system, both last year plus this year, if everything goes ahead?
You know what? I defer to the economists that I trust. Janet Yellen, I have an enormous amount of confidence in her. And when she says that we need this to create jobs, to improve our competitiveness, and that it is an important investment to make, and that we will see millions of jobs created as a result of this. And look, I travel around the country and I listen to stories of people talking around their kitchen tables virtually right now. And what I hear is that the American people are looking for their government to step up and deliver. We have spent far too long without the necessary infrastructure that will allow not only our companies to be competitive, but our country to be competitive. As you all know, this is a global marketplace now, and we are getting our clock cleaned. And I think what the president is saying quite clearly is, this is the time for bold plans. This is the time to close the equity gap that has existed in our country for far too long. It's a time to make sure that nobody gets left behind. And if not now, in this crisis, when?
Well, I think the criticism, and Valerie, you're the political expert, would be, yes, he was elected with the mandate, but not by as big of a margin as he had hoped or as the poll suggested, and certainly not by a big margin in the Senate, where it's really evenly split there. So how much of a mandate does he have to completely shift the role of government in our economy and to shift the money from the private sector into the public sector, which this plan does? And how risky of a move is that heading into the midterm elections?
Well, I don't think he's looking at this through a political lens. He's looking at this through the lens of what's going to make the United States competitive. What's going to actually help U.S. companies compete in that global marketplace? What's going to help hardworking families who are sitting around their table every day struggling to make ends meet? That's the lens through which he looks at his job. And I think if he stays true to the commitments that he made, he reaches out, he listens to great ideas coming from all sides of the aisle, all parts of his own party, and he moves the country forward and people's lives get better. That's the metric by which I think he will determine whether or not only does he keep control of the House and the Senate in the midterms, but continues to have the support of the American people. So that's the only litmus test it measures. And you look at the stock market, it's doing fine after his announcement. There's no cratering in the market. If anything, it went up today. And so I think that he measured it just right. He did not raise taxes on those making less than $400,000 a year. It was a modest increase in corporate tax. And that investment will see many returns for the corporate community that wants to grow and create jobs here in the United States.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.